Welcome to My Forever Home, the podcast. I'm Frances Cosway and I've helped hundreds of people create forever homes. I can't wait to share the journey with you. So let's start. Hi and welcome to Wednesday, the middle of the week, and it's nearly the middle of February, which is hard to believe. Today I wanted to talk to you about future-proofing your home, or how to make your home future-proof. Now, yesterday I was talking about forever homes and why I believe they're so important and why they're so different to a home that you're thinking about flipping or not really being in it for very long. So for me, it's a complete opposite than renovating for profit. Now, future-proofing is also something that is very related to forever homes, because we want to make sure that the home that we're building is really adaptable and flexible. Rooms can be multifunctional, and that you really have the ability for that home to serve you both now, but well into the future. Who knows what is going to be thrown at us for our family? Who knows how our family circumstances may change in the next 10, 15, 20 years? And what we want to do with a future-proof home is to make sure that there is that sort of flexibility and adaptability, that spaces and rooms can be more than one thing. And so I cover this a lot in the course that I'm about to launch on Friday, but it is something that I would really suggest that you keep top of mind throughout any renovation or new build journey that you're going to go through for a home that is a forever home. And so what sort of things do you need to consider if you're going to future-proof your home? One of the key things for me, and it sounds a bit crazy, is to actually utilise doors. And so doors serve so many different purposes. And what I'm finding on floor plans more and more often is lack of doors. And it's probably the number one thing I'm inputting when I'm actually doing a floor plan sanity check on someone's plans. And so doors in an open plan area, are not necessarily needed, but you can incorporate them. And of course, we do love living in open plan spaces, but that's not to say that we don't need areas that can be cozy, that can be intimate, and that we can create spaces that don't all have to be open plan. So one of the key things that I see, particularly in volume builds, you walk into a home and on one side as you walk in, there is a room there, and there might be a big arch or a big opening and there is no door. And it's often denoted on the floor plan as an office, or it could be, a second living. But the problem I've got with that is you're losing all the flexibility about what that room could be. They're generally a good size, those spaces. So here are some of the key reasons I think that there's a problem with them. One is there's no privacy. So if you're on a conference call and that room is used as a study or an office, you can't exactly close the doors and have, really, fiery conference calls or, invite clients in and have meetings in there in privacy. So that's a bit of an issue. The second thing is all that noise that's going on from that front room is going to travel down the house, particularly if you don't have any sort of doors in the hallway. So that's an issue. So noise mitigation is one of the key things that I see as a big problem, is really forgotten about. Things might look amazing on a floor plan, but it's forgotten. I'm not going to digress because I'm going to do another live on noise mitigation. And then the other thing is energy. So because that room is open, it means that you can't heat or cool it in isolation. It also means if the heating or cooling is on in the rest of the home, that room, whether it's utilised and there's someone in there or not, is going to be heated or cooled. So I see a big problem. Now, the other issue, and this is a big one in terms of future-proofing, is you're not going to be able to really use that room for much. Yes, you can have a study in there, albeit I always have got my door closed on my home office, particularly when I want to do Facebook Lives, or I just want to make sure that my kids are not coming in, or that, I'm having a call and I really need to have some peace and quiet. So how anyone could work or study in a room that doesn't have doors is beyond me. But My key problem with those rooms is not having doors is you can't make that space something else. It's really very limited. Now, if it's got doors, and they could be double cavity sliding doors that you can still open up and keep the illusion of space, or it could be a hinge door, whatever you prefer. But at least when you've got a door, you could turn that room into a playroom. You could turn that room into a guest bedroom. You can have someone stay in that space. You can create privacy. It could be the kids' study for when there's year 12 and they really need to close the door and have their own domain. So that is what I mean about future proofing and making sure that rooms are adaptable and super multifunctional. You could have a sofa bed in there and a desk so that someone could actually stay over if that's not a common occurrence, but during the day it's actually a study. So that's really, really important. The other one is retreats, upstairs retreats. And it's very, very similar to what I was talking about with those rooms that are sort of, coming off the front door area, the first room that you see when you walk in. So retreats are very common in Australia in an upstairs area. And I've got the same problem with them as well. Again, you've got noise going up and down the stairs, particularly if they're not carpeted. That is a lot of noise. You've got noisy teenagers up there or, whatever. But also from an energy perspective, all the heat is going to rise into that space. There might not be anyone in there. And also from a cooling perspective, all of that's going to go up and down the stairs rather than it being able to be zoned off. But again, you can't create privacy. You can't say to your in-laws, why don't you come and stay? And, you can stay upstairs in sort of our open plan retreat area. It's not an area that can be, made into multiple different things. It could be a games room, again, noisy. It could be an area where kids can study, again, not a lot of noise mitigation or privacy. And sure, it can be a living area, but don't forget that TV upstairs, that noise is going to travel downstairs. And if you're having a dinner party downstairs and you've sent the kids upstairs, your noise is going to travel upstairs too. And what about there's bedrooms there and you want to be able to seal off the noise from the retreat with the bedrooms? So this is why, for me, doors are so, so important. So let's get into, not only having doors in to make rooms separate and being able to have them as separate spots within the space, within your home, but also in hallways. So, for example, you can have a door in a hallway that enables you to stop the climate, whatever's going on, be that super hot or super cool, super cold outside, that heat transfer is not going down your hallway and then out into the open plan areas. That's probably enough about doors. The other thing I wanted to cover about when you're future-proofing and creating a future-proof home, which is a word I coin a lot, is just around spaces themselves. So we may have a space that has got doors on it, double cavity sliding doors, so they can be open and you can create an illusion of space, which is fantastic. But if it's sort of centered, a place sort of in the middle of the home, as in close to the open plan area where the kitchen is and sort of away from the front door, that room could be so many different things. And this is the future-proofing thing that's coming to fruition just naturally. It could be a playroom when your kids are younger. You can still keep an eye on them. The doors would generally be open. When they're older, you may put a couple of desks in there and that's where they can study. Again, the doors can close so they can have some quiet time. You may have a desk in there and it can be a full home office. You may have a sofa bed in there and a desk, and then it can be a spare room as well as being a study area. It may be that you want to have it as a second living area. Someone may want to watch one particular program on TV and someone wants to watch something else down the back of the room. So we've got Die Hard 4 at one end and we've got Days of Our Lives down the other. So that's possible. And again, with the ability to close the doors, you don't have to listen to each other's TV programs. Also, see clients do full circle with their children move out, they become empty nesters again, and then inevitably at some stage the adult children move back. It may be that they're renovating, it may be that they just need to come home for a while, or they're saving to save for their own home and they need to come back, and they may have kids now, and so you need that extra room, and so that could actually be turned into a spare bedroom, a guest bedroom. You may have guests or relatives over from overseas for a few months at a time, and you can actually create that into a guest bedroom. So what have I already listed off? Maybe 5 6 things that room can be over the duration and the course of your family life living in that home, from when they're toddlers to when they're teenagers to when you're maybe empty nesters to when they're adult children and they may need to come home. So there's a really good opportunity with your floor plans to make sure that they are future proof. And what I encourage you to do is assess each of these spaces, particularly rooms that are not bedrooms right now, and how can they be more than one thing over the course of the time that you're living in that home. The other thing that I would suggest is to try and avoid having built-in furniture in spaces that could be more than one thing. So, for example, if you've got quite a roomy study/office and you love the idea of having built-in furniture, look, I agree, it looks amazing. And this is where I would say function over form, because if you don't have your inbuilt furniture in there, and that is quite a big space, then you can easily turn that into a bedroom. A single bed or maybe a double bed could go in there if you do need to create additional space, in a period of your life where you never expected that you'd ever need to do that. And that's what we're trying to do with our home to future-proof. It is cover off times in our lives when circumstances may change that we never, ever anticipated. But we've got it covered because our home has been designed in such a way that it is flexible and can take these sorts of changes. So if you've got a room and a study, for example, that is quite small and can't really fit a bed in there, then, having a built-in desk in there is a great idea. But otherwise, I'd have a freestanding desk. I've got them in this is my home office where I am at the moment. And I do have 2 freestanding desks in here because this could easily turn into a bedroom, a guest room. We've got a walk-in robe coming in off it. We've got a bathroom coming in off it. So this room could be multiple things. And that is why we consciously didn't put in any built-in desks, even though I knew, and it has been for the last 5 years in this home, a home office. So I know that I've got the flexibility here, and I really want to encourage you to create that flexibility for yourself as well. So try and avoid built-in furniture where you can, when you know that that space could in the future be something else. Make sure you're installing doors. So here are my fingers, 1, 2, and 3, try to make sure that spaces are adaptable, that they can be more than one thing. And so I will leave you with that right now. I think that's a lot of information to impart at the moment. I hope you've got a little bit out of that. And I will be back tomorrow with another topic about creating your forever home. See you then. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of My Forever Home. If you're ready to renovate or build a new home and you need help to create a beautiful and functional forever home, you can book a chat with me directly at whitepebbleinteriors.com.au/chat. Have a great day.